All right, my beloved, we're going to just start vlogging and see where it goes, right? So, let's talk about something. The hardest thing that I've ever dealt with in life, and I've had to deal with loss, being labeled permanently, being overthrown by people at a job where they just don't like you and they politic you out over and over. I've been the last hired, the first fired, right? I've been all the things. I've been the victim, the villain, the hero, the saint. And the hardest thing to deal with out of all of it is realizing at the end of it, none of it was actually real. It was all phony, right? It was all in my mind, all in my head. The scriptures, they're unprovable. A lot of science is unprovable, right? The stuff that unless we're actually using the equations to do something practical, right? If you can't use it to solve problems, it's probably not the greatest thing, right? That's what I've learned. If you can't use it to solve problems, it's probably not that great. Entertainment solves problems. Income, stuff like that. Palmistry, astrology, doing readings. It's the original form of entertainment, guys. And I don't know why we're not going back to that. Because it's so much more than, going hot for a couple clicks for something edgy you said, right? I mean, there's way more in the reading. You can pull basically what's going to happen to somebody out of their hand. I mean, it's been said before. They've said that you can tell the future of the world through a mirror, and I believe that. The future is us. If you look in the mirror, you see humanity, yourself, a human. The future is going to be us, whether it's us now or us coming back, however you want to look at it. Humanity has the leading intelligence. It's what we have access to that differentiates ourselves from all the other things here. They do have intelligence, right? Even at the cellular level, there's intelligence. When single-celled organisms get too close to something that they can consume, they don't just get next to it and bump it. There's ones that'll reach out and grab that thing. Response to stimulus. We have indications of higher orders of intelligence. And we've always been trying to describe how they make it onto us and how they play out in our lives and imprint themselves on our little container we call the body, right? So the hardest thing to be presented with is yourself. When you see generations of men who did a similar thing and to no avail, no people were actually saved. There are no men on the street with the spiritual power that the scriptures talk about to heal people, because we as humanity need healing. I believe that if there was that going on, we'd absolutely need that. Men, women out there with a power that can heal people without a bunch of technology. Because these people have run us to rags and drained out our riches for basic medical needs and stuff, right? Most of the stuff that's ruined our biome that we've had access to in our market economy, right? That has caused those needs, right? Those deficiencies, those illnesses, those diseases, right? I know it feels like something's going to break up. And I know the Hebrew Israelites say this or that. The reality is there is microcycles and macrocycles in humanity. And this place never gets too big. There never gets to be too many people because something happens to call it back. Are we in one of those ages where we're at the precipice, the departing of an age? Were we at the trough of the waveform, in a lower state, in a lower vibration? Are we about to move to a higher vibration? I absolutely believe so. When you look around, you see everything's ran by a low vibration. Let's call it low vibration and high vibration. It's been on a low vibration. People want to call it Saturn. The Saturn worshippers are ruling. Shaitan, Satan, whatever you want to do. You can call it whatever you want. The reality is it's a low vibration ruling. Take it back to Hermetic principles. We know vibratory, those negative things, including war and all the terrible things that go with slander, lies, and deception, are lie. It's lie technology, right? Low vibration technology. We haven't had high vibration technology in so long, we forgot what it's like. Is it the difference between white and black magic? I don't know. I know there's a difference between summer and winter, right? And I believe we've been in some kind of existential intelligence winter where the human intelligence, it's baited and basted in lies and applied to stuff that is destructive, right? Whether it's cultivation of resources, oppressions of peoples, authorities, finances, these things and principalities have authority over people in a way that should not be. And we know from time to time, if we look back into the ages, there's erasures that happen. Whether it's people get into power and say, all this information needs to go, it's the wrong vibration. Because when a polarity is ruling, it can't, then a north polarity cannot rule in the south polarity because it has to do with electromagnetism at the mind level, right? A mental polarity that is electromagnetically different than the current polarity, and I believe it's raising up. It's not the prophets, and if it is a prophet, it's a prophet of Ayan Sawat, the mighty everything that could be, that infinite potential. You want to call it God? It's not really that. It's infinite potential. It doesn't have a form. And it infinitely gives even to the low vibration. I believe we're getting close to a period of time where we're shifting from the low vibration to the high vibration. And I can see it in micro and macro cycles, not only in the economy, in people around me. We're seeing these powers play out. They used to describe it as the archetypal things that the planets impress on us, whether it's the sun, because Shamash, Chama, it rules. It's the reason we're alive. Because our form and function is predicated on that warmth, the presence of certain temperature, right? That certain temperature range. And without it, we as humans would have not been able to get this far. Because we required an envelope, a cradle, if you will. Which is why we always think of intelligent design. Of course, there's some sort of intelligent design. We haven't experienced it at the level they want to describe in the scriptures or in other books. It's not describable that way. What we're talking about is an age that had those things. And that we'd like to go back to that age. I absolutely want to go back to that age. It's a high vibration age. And I believe a lot of people are going through this psychological, socio-spiritual change that's going to initiate the next big things in the mind, because everything, the infinite power starts at the mind. The capacity to change starts in the mind. You think about it first, and then we try and live it out. I believe humanity is about to remember something and try and live it out in real time, and I believe that's a lot of what's going on, right? The press towards spirituality, but away from modern religion, where the practices thereof don't impart salvation or faith the way that they express them, and the men or women that are supposed to be purveying it don't have the spiritual powers and funny things that the mythology says they do, so we should ignore those people without them, right? Clearly. Anyways, just some thoughts. Y'all have a great day, rest of your day, beloved.